Georgia, Alabama. Sports Live will be your go-to for all your favorite high school and collegiate games this fall. From the Carver Tigers to the Columbus Blue Devils, the Harris County Tigers and Northside Patriots, the Glenwood Gators and Calvary Christian Knights, the Pacelli Vikings and Brookstone Cougars, to the Smith Station Panthers and Russell County Warriors, from CVCC, Pirates basketball and baseball, and every tournament from here to Macon. We are the #1 destination for anything happening in East Alabama and West Central Georgia. Be sure to like and follow us on YouTube and Facebook, and stay tuned for even more amazing ways we will be bringing Georgia, Alabama Sports Live to you this upcoming season. We can't wait to come see you next. What is going on, everyone? And you're listening and watching another edition of the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. Thrift, Barringer, live from the Sports Visions 92.1 FM studios. And joining me right now is the man himself. It's Big Rich. What is up, Big Rich? How's it going? Rich, I think you're muted.
Yeah, I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing good. Knocking off the rust a little bit, Richard, as you had a crazy weekend with the family, came rushing in after your daughter's play. By the way, I saw that was at Glenwood. I saw Miss Bryce, who was in charge of it. Actually, I graduated with her, and now she's in charge of drama at Glenwood. My nephew, Bryson, was in it last year, and it was awesome that you were able to go and attend that, Rich.
Yeah, it was great, and it was exciting. I saw Coach Nelson there. Just a lot of Glenwood people there the last couple of days.
No doubt about it. So, busy show today. We got a lot we're getting into. For one, we're updating you what's happening in high school baseball as playoffs have already started. Some teams lost, some teams won. We'll get into all of those. We drop our new baseball rankings. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about what we got coming up this week as well on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. We'll hit on the NFL draft, NBA playoffs, and anything else we can think of an unsolicited hot take. So you are in for a treat. We'll give you an update on the River Dragons, the Lions, the Clingstones. We are one-stop shop right here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. A ton we're going to be getting into. Do not go anywhere. Don't touch that Facebook page. And while you're at it, subscribe and like. Subscribe to YouTube, like the Facebook. Please join us right now. We're also on Apple and Spotify as well, the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. Richard uploads that every single day, and so we appreciate, or when we have shows, we don't do a show every day, but when we do have shows, he uploads that. So please go to the Georgia Alabama Sports Live podcast and make sure to listen to me and DJ Jones every weekday morning from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Sports Visions 92.1 FM. Got a great show in store for you tomorrow morning, so make sure to tune in. All right, a lot of things and a lot of places I want to go with this, Richard, but let's go ahead and let's talk about what's happening in high school playoff baseball. All right, number one, let's talk about everything that's happened, and we'll start in Alabama. So we got Central, we have Glenwood. Russell County, Smith Station did not make it. Those are the teams that we cover in Alabama. Central dominated Baker. They won their 2 games. They're moving on to the quarterfinals. Richard, who do they play?
They play Fairhope.
And if they beat Fairhope, they're going to be in store for a one-loss
winner. Oh, I was going to say the winner of Auburn Enterprise.
Yeah, no, one-loss Enterprise team that comes in ranked number 3 in the latest Alabama Sports Writers poll. Central comes in ranked number 4, but they need to get past Fairhope first. They dominated Baker in the Sweet 16. Now they're heading to the quarters, and if they take care of business, I think this Central team could be back in the state championship for the 4th consecutive year. Wow, Coach Keogh's got a dominant program. Speaking of dominant, Glenwood Gators. I was there last Friday calling the game. 10-2 win in game one. Tyler Sykes was magnificent. The hitting was timely. McCrane hit bombs, and they dominated game one. Game two, a little bit of a slower start, but then they started pouring it on. They got up to 10-1 in the fifth inning. Then the bottom fell out. Then we come back after an hour delay, and they end up having to play 7 innings because they couldn't get that one run in the fifth or sixth. Remember, Glenwood in a best of 3 is home game 1 and game 3. Game 2, they are the road team, even though we are at Glenwood. And Glenwood put up 9 runs in the 7th inning, Richard. 19-3 was the final score. They have won now their 2 playoff games, 16-0, 25-0, 10-2, and 19-3. That is 29-5 in the second round series, Big Rich. That is 41-0 in the other one. That is 70-5. They have outscored their opponents in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. You cannot get any more dominant than what has been the number 1 team the entire year. We've done baseball rankings this season, Rich. What about those Gators and the Red Devils?
Yeah, just dominant performance by both the Gators and the Red Devils. Central's going to get to be at home for the quarterfinal. Glenwood has to go on the road. They're going to play St. James. That's going to be in Montgomery. And I know that that's just the way that 3A level for the AHSAA works. If you had to travel the furthest, you end up getting a home game if you're both region champions. And you also have Lee Scott Academy that's taking on the number 1 team in 3A, Prattville Christian. And that's only on one side of the bracket. There's a completely different side of the bracket that, Glenwood won't face that team until they reach the championship. But they got to get by St. James first. I do think that they match up well with St. James. I don't think we're going to see 16-0, 25-0. I do think Glenwood wins, but I think it's going to I would not be shocked if it's like a 1-run game, because now they're facing some of the top teams in 3A, and this St. James team is dominant. And so I'm looking forward to seeing this. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to call this game on the NFHS network. I mean,
we were trying to make that work, but the schedule constraints, as will be filling in for Jack Johnson and the Clingstones. Richard, you'll be calling Columbus High. We also got another baseball matchup that day as well. So
a lot of baseball.
We won't be able to be there for it, but we will hope that they can maybe host the semifinals. But again, Alabama, it's not about record. It's not about what you're seeded. It is about how far you've traveled. So we'll see about what's going to happen with Glenwood, but great win for them and the Red Devils. So let's move over here to the Georgia side of things. I was able to call game 1 of the Northside series as they took on Midtown. The number 2 seed Northside able to win both their games in pretty thrilling fashion, 7-0, 5-1. Great job by Northside's Tracy Powell in year 1, has the Patriots in the second round. Here's the problem, though. They take on the number 1 team in the entire 4A, Blessed Trinity, tomorrow. That's going to be a tough task. Now, I will say this. The one thing that has been the strength of this Northside team is their pitching. And pitching travels, Richard. Sam Laney's been great. Reese Adams has been really good. Not Reese Adams. Now, I'm losing my train of thought. I think it's Reese Adams. I know there's a Reese Adams that plays for Glenwood. I'm going to have to look up who the other Reese that plays for Northside. Richard, maybe you can look that up for me while I'm finishing my train of thought. Thank you. But Northside, they win. They now go on to the second round. So great job by Coach Tracy Powell. I was able to get an interview with him after that win. Remember, they had the weather delay back on Wednesday, but Northside moving on, and they play Blessed Trinity tomorrow. Then Harris County, they go on the road, and they, as a number 3 seed, took on number 2 seed Pace Academy, and they took them down in both games that went down to the wire, and they end up winning 2-0. I dropped my water. And they are playing Alatoona, who has a Division I commit pitcher. So they play them this week. We'll be cheering on for the Tigers. Coach Dimitri's team is really good, and I think Coach Dimitri's team has a chance to win, and it is Reese Adams. Okay, so there was another pitcher on Glenwood that I am confusing this with because I knew it was Reese Adams. So thank you, Richard, for looking that up. But how about Harris County and Northside, both of them in the same region, both of them getting big wins and moving on to the next round, but it's going to be tough. Alatoona and Blessed Trinity. Wow. And, Coach Powell said this, Richard, and I think Rick Beaches said it. Tony Dimitri said it. 4A classification is probably the toughest classification in all of GHSA. And it's going to be tough for both those teams. But listen, they got the pitching, they got the hitting. I'm not saying nothing. I'm never saying no, especially when you got Tony Dimitri and Tracy Powell leading them. But they will be tough outs. But how about their wins, though, in that first round?
Well, it just tells you how tough that region alone was, because all 4 teams that made the playoffs advanced to the second round, to include Central Carrollton and Stars Mill. But they have a tough task. Northside taking on Blessed Trinity, like you mentioned, the number 1 team in 4A. Yep. And then Harris County, if they're able to get by Allatoona, they would take on the winner of Ware County and North Oconee. And we know how good North Oconee is. They are multiple state champions, as they won state championships in 2022 and 2023. But yeah, there's no question about it. This 4A classification is the toughest classification in all of the classifications in the GHSA.
Yeah, I agree with that, Richard. All right, moving forward. Now let's go to 2A classification. Shaw loses at home to a really good Chris County team. Jordan and Hardaway, they both lose on the road. So Columbus High is the only team left in this region in 2A, and they are going to be taking on Crisp County at home this week. We're hoping to get that game on Thursday, but if it doesn't work out, Richard, you may be making that drive to Montgomery if you want to call the Glenwood St. James game. That's up in the air, but we are going to try to get Columbus High playoff against Crisp County on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. The winner will then go to the quarterfinals. Whoever wins this is going to be on the road, because Columbus High is a 6 seed, and then Crisp County, I forgot what they are, 18, 19, around.
Crisp County is a 22 seed.
22 seed. I knew it was around 22 to 19, around that area. So whoever wins that will take on the number 3 seed, unless there's an upset in this upcoming round. So I expect Columbus High to be on the road. But how about them winning? Out of all the teams we had in this area, they were the only team that took it to a 3-game series. And how about the Columbus High Blue Devils beating and winning on Saturday, Richard? Talk about that.
Yeah, Sonoraville, a good team coming in. Columbus High took the first game. Michael Nodelman, obviously, he pitched a gem, a 2-0 win. And then you had Sonoraville that came back. They were trailing against Columbus in game 2, and they're able to force it to a game 3, which was held at Randy Jordan Field on Saturday at 11 o'clock. And Columbus was able to come out on top. It was a game they really needed. It was a very close 6-4 win. And now they're taking on a Crisp County team that is playing loose. They actually had a losing record, but it's not how you start, it's how you finish. They were able to take down Shaw 5-4 and 5-2. And I actually thought that we were going to have that dream matchup between Columbus and Shaw, but Crisp County had other ideas. And so Columbus, back in the second round of the playoffs, remember they lost to Mary Persons last year. They went to the quarterfinals 2 years ago. Columbus trying to get back to the quarterfinals. I mean, Coach Mathis has got the Columbus Blue Devils on the right track. They got a lot of baseball talent. Obviously, Columbus knows what it takes to win. And I actually would not count out Pierce County hosting. If Cook is able to get the upset against Pierce County, then Columbus is going to be hosting in the quarterfinal. And how about this? We could possibly see maybe Pike County in the semifinals, or Callaway. Remember, Pike County won the state championship in 2A in 2022. Callaway's actually hosting. I know that they're going to take on Drew Charter, the team that beat Jordan. But yeah, 2A, I think it's up for grabs. I mean, you got the other side of the bracket. Morgan County is the overall number 1 seed. But yeah, Columbus has got a chance. So they just got to get by Crisp County first.
Yeah, they do. All right, moving forward, Richard. I think that's all the playoff teams in this area. Now, in the GIAA, right now, Pacelli's number 10. They would be in the playoffs. They'd be on the road. Calvary's number 5. They would host a first-round matchup, but be on the road if they win that in the quarterfinals. And then Brookstone would get a first-round bye. They are ranked number 2. All of them had great series last week. Brookstone swept Strong Rock. We were there. I was there for that doubleheader on Thursday, Richard. Calvary took 2 of 3 and from Pacelli. Every one of those games went down the wire. The one at Pacelli was 9-7. Calvary won in a walk-off on Tuesday. And then, Richard, you were there for that weather delay on Friday. So Calvary finishes second in the region. Pacelli's still not done, but if they beat Strong Rock, they potentially could finish third in the region, depending on how they do. They got a doubleheader on Friday, and they play, I think, Thursday against, or was that Wednesday? They take on Strong Rock at Strong Rock, Richard. One of those days.
Yeah, they do take on Strong Rock for a 3-game series this week.
Yeah, I was trying to see which one the
game series. Yeah, they're taking on Strong Rock tomorrow in Locust Grove, and then they are hosting Strong Rock on Friday for a doubleheader at Dynamo Field.
Yeah, Dave Plata will be on the call for that. Brookstone has their final home game against Westfield, their final game in the region. Calvary finishes up region play already, so they take on Heritage at home on Friday, senior night, and then on the road on Saturday. So their region play is done. They finished 8-4 in the region, and they're finished in second. But here's the kicker. They won their series against every team in the region.
Yes.
Now, they lost a game to every team in the region. They took 2 or 3 from Strong Rock, 2 or 3 from Westfield, 2 or 3 from Pacelli, and 2 or 3 from Brookstone. So that makes it 8-4. But Coach Steve Smith won every series, and his team has won every series since losing those 4 straight games at spring break. They're playing really good baseball. They're a scrappy bunch. They don't give up. They're well coached. I'm telling you right now, if Calvary's able to win these next 2 games, they could creep up to that number 4 spot. But talking with Steve Smith, he's perfectly fine being number 5, getting that first round so he can keep the bats alive. He doesn't want to have that 2-week layoff. At Brookstone, pretty much solidified. They're going to be either the 2 or the 3. I think they're going to be the 2. They're going to beat Westfield and Coach Greg Mathis back where they belong. And Case Rasmus's bunch got a big win against Calvary, lost 2 of 3. But if they can win 2 or 3 against Strong Rock, head into the playoffs, maybe it's an 8 or 9 seed. If they get 8, they'll host the first round. That they get a 9 or 10, who knows? They could maybe get an upset and manage to sneak into that second round. Right now, if everything holds and they're the 10 seed, Richard, and they win their first round matchup, they could take on Brookstone in the quarterfinals. Now, who would not want that? Remember, last year, we almost had that in the semifinals, but Pacelli ended up losing to, I think it was Strong Rock.
Strong Rock, yeah.
Yeah, in that quarterfinals, 2 out of 3. So, unfortunately, we were not able to get it. But hey, who knows? Maybe this year we can get in the quarterfinals. And Brookstone did sweep them, but what do you got to say about the GIAA teams and being there at that Calvary-Pacelli game on Friday?
Well, we know that the state championship is going to be at Synovus Park May the 29th through the 31st, and you got 3 teams from Columbus that wants to be there. They want to be there in front of their home crowd. I think Brookstone's got a chance. Calvary as a 5 seed, I could see them in the second round possibly upsetting First Presbyterian Day. I think if Calvary is to face Brookstone in the playoffs, it wouldn't be until the championship if they remain the 5 seed and Brookstone remains the 2 seed. But yeah, I didn't even think about Pacelli. Right now, they would take on Tallulah Falls on the road. If they're able to get the upset, they would face Brookstone in the second round. So yeah, everything's up for grabs, and I really like Calvary's chances because they're playing hot at the right time, and they have had such a tough schedule, and that's why they are a 5 seed, despite their 15-12 record. I mean, you got to throw out the records because they played so many tough teams, and that's why they're ahead of Athens Christian, who's is 17-4 right now. Tallulah Falls 17-8,
especially. And I like how the Max Preps does it. Throw out records. It's about strength of schedule. It's about how you are, your talent. There's a lot of factors that go into it, Richard. So I'm in 100% agreement with that. So now we're moving on. We got Columbus High still left in the playoffs. Glenwood, Central, Harris County, and Northside. We're cheering for those 5 teams, and then Pacelli, Calvary, and Brookstone are still. We've got the regular season to finish this week, but they all are looking ahead to playoffs. So we still got 8 teams with their season still alive that we're going to be cheering on for. Also in soccer, Richard, I'm going to let you update that. So Calvary finishes. They got their senior night on Thursday. The boys are ranked number 5. The girls probably not going to make the playoffs, but the boys will be hosting a first round. Pacelli boys and girls, both of them are in the top 4. Pacelli number 3 in the boys, number 1 in the girls. So they're going to be getting first round buys. So what can you update us on everything else? I know Harris County won last week. I know Columbus has won. What's going on in the soccer world, man?
Yeah, both Columbus boys and girls won. They are going to be in the second round. The Columbus girls actually are going to play Callaway, so we kind of got a local flavor between 2A schools. Harris County boys, unfortunately, they fell. We had some other teams that fell. The GIAA playoffs are actually going to begin. The brackets are going to come out pretty soon as I'm trying to pull them up. We know that Pacelli girls are the overall – they're going to be the overall number 1 seed. And you also have the Pacelli boys, despite their record, they are going to be a number 3 seed. So looking at the brackets, they are going to end up getting a bye. So I'm looking at the brackets here. The first 4 teams get the bye. The Pacelli girls are going to play on Friday, May the 16th. The Pacelli boys are going to play on Saturday, May the 17th. Both games are going to be at Diamond Field. Calvary Christian, there is an opportunity to host. They're a 6 seed right now, so they would be hosting, because the first 4 teams get the bye. So we could see Calvary as a 6 seed host the 11th seed. So that would not be until Saturday, May the 10th. That's the first round of the soccer playoffs. And of course,
playoffs start next week.
Yeah, and of course, the state championship is May the 27th and 28th at Stratford Academy in Macon. And we are pulling for the local teams. Hopefully they could get to Macon. I'm looking forward to the playoffs, and we'll know exactly who is going to be in those official brackets, as the soccer season has not officially ended yet. I think Calvary's got one more game, and we got some other GIAA teams that got
I will say Pacelli boys and Columbus boys are probably the best shot for the boys. I don't know if they're going to win it all, but I do expect them to at least get a couple rounds in the playoffs. But as far as state championships, I think it's Columbus girls, who's number 1 in 2A, and the Pacelli girls, who is number 1 in the GIAA. Both of them are also ranked top in the state, regardless of classification. Pacelli's ranked nationally. So Coach Cocker's team, every single year, it seems like it's soccer. He's not won a soccer state championship. He's got 3 flags. He has not won a soccer. So he's going to try to overcome losing to Brookstone last year in that state championship game. All right, Richard, let's go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back, we'll do the baseball rankings and more right here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. You're watching right now the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show that is presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. Get ready to smile. We'll be right back after this.
I'm always on the go. But with the Kinetic Credit Union app, Kinetic is always with me. The Kinetic mobile app is virtual banking at its best. With the Kinetic mobile app, I can easily send and receive money, make a deposit, pay some bills, and I can even open up a new account, all from my phone. And I can monitor all my accounts in one place, all on the go. The Kinetic mobile app, energized banking at its best.
Kinetic Credit Union, the energy for your dreams.
Hi, my name is Griff Gordy, and here at Gordy Eye Care, we have been serving the Bi-City community for 17 years. As a former state championship quarterback, I love the fact that I can watch local high school athletics from the comfort of my own home. So it was a no-brainer to support Georgia Alabama Sports Live and what they do for young athletes in our area.
And without business like yourself, Gordy Eye Care, none of our coverage would be possible to be able to cover the 16 different high schools, the local colleges, and professional teams. So we'd like to say thank you to you, Dr. Griff Gordy and Gordy Eye Care, for your support of Georgia Alabama Sports Live. And then you can make an appointment today at Gordy Eye Care with the number 334-291-5125. Keep supporting Gordy Eye Care and keep watching Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Welcome back to the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. Thrift, Barringer, Big Rich. That's him. And we got a ton we're going to be getting into tonight. We just gave you an update on what's happening around the high school landscape. We're going to save Clingstone's Lions and River Dragons right before Unsolicited Hot Take. But right now, it's time for those rankings. I know a lot of you are tuning in to say who is number one. I don't think it's a big surprise. It's the Glenwood Gators. Number 2, Central. Got a big win against Baker. I think that they're a team that could be playing for another state championship. Number 3, Brookstone. I don't care what you say. They're the favorite, in my opinion, to win the GIAA. I know FPD's number 1, but they didn't play the schedule Brookstone has. I'm giving Brookstone, and heck, I can even see a Brookstone Calvary state championship, which would be incredible for the city at Synovus Park. A packed out house. Number 4, Northside. Northside got a big win. They finished number 2 in the region. I know they lost 2 or 3 against Harris County, but if you looked at those games, they really should have won game 1. The game 2, they had a ton of walks and just things didn't go their way, but I credit to Harris County and Tony Dimitri getting the win. But Northside finished number 2 in the region, and they got a big win on the road. I'm going to keep them number 4. I'm keep putting County number 5. If they both lose, I'm going to put them back tied for 4th. But right now, I got Northside number 4. They dominated Midtown, and Harris County went on the road and beat a good Pace Academy team as well. And those are our top 5. Big Rich.
Yeah, I do think that Harris County probably has an easier chance to upset Alatoona compared to Northside beating Blessed Trinity. Like if you're matching these teams up, Harris County's playing
draw, Rich, but getting Blessed Trinity, like, come on.
Yeah,
I mean, you could.
That's less of the draw. Yeah,
and honestly, they're getting penalized for being number 2 because they're having to play the better team. Man, it's like you would rather almost be the 4 or 3 seed or number 1. Number 2, you just get matched up with Blessed Trinity. It was just a luck of the draw because if County was able to take 1 game from SARS Mill, Northside would have finished number 1 in the region.
Yeah, exactly. And so I actually like where both these teams are at. Brookstone at number 3. Look, at Brookstone losing 2 out of 3 against Calvary. Calvary they're a very good team playing right at the right time. And those games could have gone either way. Brookstone has been the best team in the GIAA all season. And, they did play Central, and that's why they're not number 2 because Central beat Brookstone. But I don't know if Brookstone went up against Glenwood, which they did not face each other this year. Who knows? I know Glenwood's the number 1 team, but it's tough to rank these top 3 teams because, if Brookstone got another crack at Central, it might be a closer game. And who knows what would have happened if Glenwood played Brookstone this season. I mean, it's really up for grabs, and either one of these teams at the top can win a state championship.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't spend much time talking on Glenwood because they've been number 1 all season. And I fully expect Coach Fanning's team to win their 3rd straight state championship, his 11th at Glenwood, and the team's 1st in the AHSAA. And for all the detractors out there that said, who have they played? They won't be able to say that now because they have played some elite of the elite. And this year's team has answered the bell every single game. By the way, look in, Blessed Trinity won 6-4, 6-4 over Cedartown. That was the number 4 seed from Region 7. I'm not saying that you can't base it off what happened in that first round because they could come out and like world beaters the second round, but that shows me that they're beatable. They had close games against a Cedartown team that I don't think is good as Northside, and if the pitching travels and Northside beats Blessed Trinity, they could beat anybody else. That's the number 1 team. So if you're Northside, you're getting the number 1 team early. You beat them now. Everyone else is gravy, you would seem like. And Harris County takes on Alatoona. They dominated Westminster in that first round. So it's going to be tough. They got that one good arm. But if Harris County can manage to get past that, they could maybe upset Alatoona. So we'll see how those 2 teams will play out. Number 6, Calvary, 8-4. I think 15-12 on the year now, Rich.
Yeah.
If they win these next 2 games, they'll finish 17-12. If they beat Heritage on Friday and Saturday, 8-4, second in the region, number 5 team in the GIAA. Somehow there's a poll out there, I guess, that coaches vote on, and Calvary's still not in the top 10 of 4A. I've Richard, you've got now this stick where everybody's looking forward to when that poll comes out. You being fired up about this. I'm no longer fired up about it because I think that poll is stupid. There's no thought into it. There's no way these coaches are actually looking and doing research, because if they did, there's no way they would even They don't even have Calvary in the top 10. Like, that's just ultimate disrespect. Now,
It is.
top 5, I could hear some arguments, but not really. But top 10, you're crazy. And that makes me think this poll, it should not even be brought up. That's why Calvary's, they're ranked number 6 in our poll, but then number 2 GIAA team we have here. Number 7, Columbus. They're the only Muskogee County team still alive. Coach Mathis's team, they've had their ups and downs this year, but I told him they will be right in the thick of things, and they'll be deep in the playoff run, because that's why you play a tough schedule. And guys like Michael Nodelman, who is a great pitcher, great hitter, and honestly, I think an all-by-city player. And the problem is, if he didn't play the same position as McCrane, I would put him up there as maybe a first team, but I'm going to find him on somewhere, whether it be a pitcher, whatever it is. Nodelman should be up there. Number 8, Shaw, great season for Coach Chalker. They lose in the first round. And Jordan, they also lose in the first round, but Coach David Lane's team gets over 15 wins once again. Great job by David Lane. And Pacelli found their way back up in the top 10 with their win over Calvary last week. If they can beat Strong Rock this week, maybe get close to 500. If they sweep, they'll be over 500. And Pacelli could be moving up and maybe even hosting the first round playoff. The bottom 5, Richard, your thoughts? You're muted, Rich.
So I got to keep muting my microphone because I got kids screaming in the background. But if Chelly wins this series against Strong Rock, I think that they move up and they move ahead of Columbus, Shaw, and Jordan, and could be hosting a playoff game. So, yeah, I don't think Pacelli's done just sitting at 10.
I don't think so either, and I'm with you on that. If they do sweep them, they beat Shaw, they beat Jordan, and I think they beat Columbus this year as well, Rich. I'm going to have to go back and look at that. And if that's the case, Pacelli's going to move in that top 7. How about Case Rasmussen in his first year? And he's got a young team full of great talent, and they're going to get better each year. He's the head coach. So great job by Case Rasmussen. Great job by Pacelli. They're one of those scrappy bunches you can never count out. Here's our top 10. It's our final one until we get close to the end of the regular season. We may do one next week because Brookstone and Calvary and Pacelli in their regular season, but like Shaw and Jordan's done, Northside Harris County could be done, and we maybe potentially even Columbus High could be done. So we'll see. We may end up putting out another rankings. If not, we'll save it for the end of the year. But we're cheering for all the teams that are still left playing. That includes Glenwood, Central, Brookstone, Northside, Harris County, Calvary, Columbus, and Pacelli. 8 teams still alive and 8 teams that we are cheering for right now. Any other thoughts, Richard, before we move on from the rankings?
Oh, great rankings. As always, one team that was on the outskirts that also made the playoffs, the Hardaway Hawks, probably would have them at number 11. I think that, Russell County, Smith Station, they both had good years, but both didn't make the playoffs. So it's hard to put them in a top 10. But yeah, they all had good seasons, and these are good baseball programs that they'll be back on top. I was really impressed with Hardaway because of the base stealing. I think they broke some record, like 400 stolen bases by a team. I mean, it was just an incredible record. But yeah, they were in the playoffs as well. So congratulations to the Hardaway Hawks.
Great job by Hardaway. Great season for Coach Anthony. And we're going to take a break. When we come back from break, we're going to talk about what's happening outside of high school. Also, Richard, go ahead and take that off real quick before we end this. Thank you to Kendall Mills and thank you to Hardaway. They had their block party. They're still taking donations for the rings for those girls. Had a lot of fun there, Richard. Jeff Battles was there, was able to speak. Marty Richburg, who was the last time an athletic team won a championship at Hardaway. He was coaching the softball team. It was good to hear from him. Matt Bell, a region chief, former principal that hired Kelly Ellison. Enjoyed them. Obviously, Kendall Mills, Joe Kegler, really enjoyed being there. And I'm hoping that more people from the city are continue to support the girls, continue to donate to the rings. And we appreciate everyone that was there in support of those Hardaway Lady Hawks. Now, Richard, I also want to say thank you to Colin Scroggins and Glenn Smith. We had a special show, Richard. I was able to give the backstory from Colin and how he started CNAW. We also got a newscast coming up, and we'll be the sports anchors for that newscast. So thank you again to Colin Scroggins, Glenn Smith, Hardaway. We had a fantastic time on Saturday, Richard. We went from Glenn Smith doing a show all the way to Hardaway doing a live show. And then I went home and took a nap. I just passed out. I was super exhausted after Saturday's and Friday's long night too. We were up till 1 o'clock in the morning. But this is why we do what we do. It's a grind. We love it. And again, thank you to Glenn Smith, thank you to Jerry Potter, Colin for that special show we did. You can go back and watch it. It was at 10 o'clock on last Saturday. And then, of course, the block party at Hardaway. All right, Rich, any other final thoughts on that before we go to the break?
No, I just want to say that the Hardaway Lady Hawks, I'm glad that we were able to celebrate their championship. And I thought it was really cool that the Carver head football coach, Pierre Coffey, was there. A one championship team recognizes another championship team. And, he's got a championship and he's supporting this Hardaway championship team. I really hope they get their rings because we got to see Carver get their rings. These girls deserve to get rings for their championship season.
I completely agree with that. All right, we're going to take a break. Don't go anywhere. We're going to tell you what's going on with the Clingstones, what's happening with the Lions. River Dragons, are they done? Are they moving on? I know most of you know that. We'll talk about it right here on the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show, and we'll end it with unsolicited hot take, NFL draft, Shadur Sanders, Michael Williams got it drafted, NBA playoffs, and more. Don't go anywhere. It's the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. You're watching right now the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show that is presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. Get ready to smile. We'll be right back after this.
Here they come. Truckloads of fresh inventory to Glenn Smith GMC in Opelika. Choose from a huge selection of full-size GMC Sierras, discounted up to $13,250 off. New GMC Terrains, the popular SUV known for its safety, technology, and performance, is discounted up to $7,500 off. Enjoy. No payments until July. People from all over the USA save at Glenn Smith GMC in Opelika. Get ready to smile.
Georgia Alabama Sports Live wants to say thank you to one of our presenting sponsors, Buffalo Rock, and their partnership with everything that we do. And without businesses like Buffalo Rock, we wouldn't be able to go cover softball, volleyball games, every type of high school sport you can think of, local college games, and professional. So thank you to those businesses that support us, and specifically Buffalo Rock. And next time you're watching a Georgia Alabama Sports Live broadcast after a nice long day, why not enjoy it with a nice, refreshing sorry? The best lemon lime soda around. Thank you to Sorry and Buffalo Rock for our partnership on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Love that Sorry. So appreciate that, Richard, and had a lot of fun on doing that. I don't know why I'm getting an echo right now. Oh. Rich, you brought up the wrong me. That is why I'm getting an echo. You brought up the wrong me, man. I got two different ones going. Everybody's like, what is happening right now? I got two different cameras. I apologize. I got my computer up, and Richard clicked on the wrong one of me, so that's why I was getting the echo. But let's talk about what's happening around. So Clingstone, they're in last place. We talked about this on the Sports Pitchers Morning Show earlier today, Richard. They didn't have a great series this past one on the road. Kind of give us an update what's going on with the Clingstones.
Yeah, they actually won the first two games against the Chattanooga Lookouts, and then they dropped the next four. So they are currently 8-12 on the season. They have a 6-game home stretch against the Biloxi Shuckers starting tomorrow at Synovus Park. They got the traditional Monday off, and they're going to have another 6-game home stretch, and this time against the Birmingham Barons. And so if you have not gone down to a Columbus Clingstones game yet, you've got a chance to enjoy them for the next 12 games. And I could promise you it is going to be an experience that your family will never forget. This is really not just the food, the atmosphere, the parking is affordable. It's only $5. You can walk around. You have the picnic benches. You got the kid zone in the back. It's really a big social event, and I haven't been back since the opener. I definitely want to come back in the next couple of games. I know with our busy schedule on Georgia Alabama Sports Live, and I've got some family obligations. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to, but in the next couple of weeks, I definitely want to try to make it back.
Well, maybe, Richard, you can make it in there on Thursday, and I can get someone to relieve you of that Columbus Blue Devils game, and maybe you can join me in studio and be my spotter and help call a game as the Clingstones take on Biloxi. So remember, the Clingstones were 8-8, and they're on a 4-game losing streak now. They're about 6.5 games back of Pensacola, but dude, this is such a long season. It's far from over with right now. They have scored 71 runs on the season. They've given up 79. And again, they are 2-4 at home. Remember, they in that one homestand, they only won 2 games out of the 6. Actually, that is not correct. I think that stat is wrong, right? Because I thought they won 4 out of 6 in that homestand. Am I wrong on saying
No,
that?
they won 2 out of 6
They
to
did.
Pensacola. They won 4 out of 6 against Biloxi on the road.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And they lost. They won the first 2 and then they lost the next 4 at home. But we hope they're going to come back better than ever. They take on Biloxi tomorrow, and then they have them the rest of the season. And there's been some changes. Obviously, Craig Kimbrell has gotten moved up. There's some other guys that have been moved down, but you still have the mainstays, Richard, and including the top prospect in the Major League Atlanta Braves organization.
Yeah, some of the changes that the Cleanstones have had, they have assigned David Fletcher and Stephen Poloni. He's got called up from the Rome Emperor. So we have a new center fielder, Stephen Poloni. David Fletcher has been assigned to Gwinnett, so he got the call up to Gwinnett. Dieter Fuentes has been brought up from the Rome Emperors. And then we also had Jonathan Hughes got transferred to the developmental list. I don't know exactly what that is. I just know that, if you are looking forward to seeing Craig Kimbrell, he is no longer a Cleanstone. He is up at AAA Gwinnett, and we expect him to be in a Braves uniform. And this is what Braves fans are hoping for, that Craig Kimbrell is the guy, the closer for the Braves. Just like in the early 2010s.
Yeah, obviously he's a little bit older than what he used to be, but the guy can still pitch.
He's still got it.
Yeah, and he's still doing a great job. By the way, the Cade, excuse me, I cannot see his name. Cade Bunnell, he had 2 home runs in the series, but batted 182 against the Lookout. Some other guys that contributed, probably Chandler Siegel. He batted 333 in 2 games against them. Cal Conley also played 5 games, and he batted 235. So the bats were not phenomenal against the Lookouts this past one. And then looking at a lot of their career averages, Cade, he's only got 3 home runs in his whole career, and 2 of them came just against the Lookouts this past week. So also Ethan Workinger, he's a guy that he hit the home run,
the
grand slam home run that won it last week. Workinger, he is batting 235 on the year with 2 home runs against left-handed pitchers. He's batting just under 200 on the season, 235, with 2 home runs on the year. Chandler Siegel's batting 333, and Gerald Quintero's batting 125. So we got to get the bats going. Does the Columbus Clingstones here in the future, because we got to score some runs. The pitching's been really good, obviously, but we got to get the hitting going for the Clingstones. So I can't wait to actually be in the ballpark. I was with you, Richard. I was actually blown away from what I saw last time I was there. So I can't wait to get back in the ballpark and get a feel for everything. And I know you're excited about getting back there too. So it should be a lot of fun this week with the Biloxi team. And I will be on the call Thursday for that. Now let's talk about those River Dragons, Rich.
Well, for the 3rd year in a row, the Columbus River Dragons fall to the Carolina Thunderbirds in the playoffs. And this one, heartbreaking fashion, 3-2 in overtime. And it's not that the River Dragons are inferior from Carolina, because these 2 teams are very evenly matched. It's because of Carolina's goalie. I remember him from last year, standing on his head. Mario Cavallari. That is your kryptonite. River Dragons fans, this guy we need to find a way to get him on the River Dragons or get promoted somewhere, because this is the reason why the River Dragons are not getting past Carolina. Once again, he stands on his head, and he's got 47 saves in that game in overtime. And I can understand, as River Dragons fans, they are frustrated because they just can't get over the hump against Carolina. 3 years in a row? I mean, it hurts.
Yeah, I'm with you. And it eventually they're going to have to, something's got to give. I thought this was a year. They, again, took them to game 3, and it just double overtime. I feel for Callahan. I feel for the organization. I feel for obviously the head coach, Boom Boom Bouchard. These guys really, McDonald, who was sensational all this year. They had a great season. Ups and downs, midway through, but still right in the thick of things, and was a goal away from making it to the championship. And Carolina looks like they may be hosting. I do want to go back to the clean zones. Blake Burkhalter, who's been one of the top pitchers, he's 1-2 with a 2.61 ERA. Drew Hackenberg, another one of those pitchers that people are really high on in the minor league organization. He's 1-3 with a 6.75 ERA. So we want to see both those guys, and they'll be pitching here this upcoming week, Richard. So we'll see if they're able to get back on track, man. And Ethan Workinger is this year has 54 at bats. He's batting .222, but he does have the home run. The clean zones don't have many guys above 300 if you go and look at their stats right now. And the one guy that is over 300, I literally just had his stats up. Kyle Conley, he's batting .257. I literally just had his stats up, and now I can't find it, Richard. You know how that is when that happens. But these guys, again, this is minor league baseball. They're knocking the rust off. This is also a season which is unlike any other in this city. So we're cheering on the Clingstones for the River Dragons. Great season for them. I hate it that they end up losing to the rival, the one team we did not want them to lose to, Carolina. 3 straight seasons going down. Last year was a surprise. This year, not as much. But when you're that close and you lose in double overtime, it is a tough pill to swallow. And talking about tough pills to swallow, Rich, the Columbus Lions, 3rd straight loss, 42-38. A game that went back and forth, down to the wire. Lions had an opportunity, and they end up coming up short. It's going to be tough, man. If you look, they want to make the playoffs this year. And if you look at the standings right now, Rich, they're definitely not going to be hosting. So hosting is out of the equation.
Yeah.
Now it's about pride and trying to finish up strong. I hate that you go on the road against Colorado, who, by the way, has been revamping their roster, and to be able to see them take down the Lions, I honestly was a little bit surprised. Lions are now 2-3. Wheeling Miners are 2-3. The Carolina Cobras, they are no longer a team. So they are out of the NAL. They are no longer an organization. So right now, Shreveport's in last. Omaha Beef and Colorado Spartans, both 4-1 and 4-2. And the Idaho Horsemen are 3-3. So right now, the Lions would make it. They are the number 2 seed. That means they're going to have to beat Wheeling. They don't play Carolina, and they got a home game coming up May the 10th, Richard. So they're going to have this week off. They were supposed to be taking on Carolina, but they're going to have this week off. They take on Shreveport, and Shreveport, Richard, is the team that's in last place in our division. So hopefully that can be a game that we get back on track, get back to 500. Then we got to go on the road to Beaumont. Anything can happen with that. Take down Wheeling, both of their games. We probably won't host a playoff because Beaumont is undefeated right now, Richard, at 4-0. So I don't see us hosting, but finishing out strong, getting that number 2 seed, and then anything can happen after that. But a tough one, another tough pill to swallow. So Clingstone's on a 4-game losing streak. River Dragons get beat by the Thunderbirds for the 3rd straight year in the playoffs, and Columbus Lions have lost 3 in a row. So tough week for professional teams in our area.
Yeah, and the Lions went to the quarterback change. Vincent Espinoza He had 132 yards passing with 3 touchdowns. But the Colorado Spartans quarterback, Khalil Trotman, had 5 touchdown passes. I just think that these teams in the NAL are coming up to the Lions level. I mean, they're not dominating like they were the last 2 years. And so, it's a game of inches. They're playing very close games against these teams. We saw that against Beaumont, and now we see it with Colorado. And I think that they just got to find a way to get these wins. I mean, they got to find a way to get up, because I've noticed, I was watching some of these games, they get down early. And when they get down early, it's hard to come back, especially when Colorado had a double-digit lead on them.
Yeah.
But
And that's the second straight game they've been down by double-digit points. Actually, third straight.
I still
Carolina,
believe.
and now Beaumont, and then, of course, Colorado last week.
I still believe the Lions are going to figure it out, because they have a veteran team that has experience at the NAL level. And I trust that their defense is going to make a big play. All we need is a big play, a pick six or a strip sack. I mean, they've got the players on defense to get stops, whether it's DeAndre Brown, whether it's Draco Statham, whether it's Darrell Green or Kendrick Washington. They got the players on defense. And first of all, I want to say, if Marcus Brooks did play his last game as the Columbus Lions player, you got to hats off to him. He should be honored. His number should be up in the rafters. He really gave his heart and soul to the Columbus Lions the last 3 seasons. But I know that he is, I know he doesn't want to retire. He loves playing the game, but they did go to the quarterback change, and I don't know if Marcus Brooks is going to get that job back if Espinosa is playing well. But I wish Marcus Brooks the best of luck. I hope that he remains a Columbus Lion, because he's very valuable as far as a leader, not only on the field but also around his teammates as well.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, Richard. And I don't think he's going to be done, and I'm hoping that we continue to see him. So, tough week for all the professional teams, Big Rich. We're going to take our final break, and when we come back, we're going to wrap it up with Unsolicited Hot Take right here on the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. You're watching right now the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show that is presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. Get ready to smile. We'll be right back after this.
Get your grills out this summer with Pepsi, the official beverage of Grills Night Out.
Welcome to the Campus Academy Private School, where every student is celebrated for their individuality. With personalized curriculum, students unlock their potential, growing into confident learners. At the Campus Academy, we give teachers the freedom to create dynamic classrooms where every student's voice is heard. Discover the difference. Enroll your child today and watch them thrive.
Welcome back here to the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. It's Unsolicited Hot Take time, Big Rich, and let's get into it. First, let's start with the NFL Draft. Congratulations to Michael Williams. We talked about this on Saturday. He got drafted to your 49ers. Huge pick, great for the city. First time since Marcus Smith back in 2014, and then before that, Jarvis Jones getting drafted in the first round. He got drafted number 11 overall. I would have loved for him to drop to number 15 where the Falcons were at. And I honestly think with them taking Jalen Walker, they'd have taken Michael Williams. But it didn't work out that way. But I think he's with a great group. He's going to learn with Nick Bosa. I think for his career, this is probably the best option, him being out there in a developmental place like what we see out there at San Francisco. And honestly, some other things, I honestly didn't have a problem. I know many people thought that the Falcons trading up to get James Pierce Jr. I liked it because if you look at the past champions, you win with a good pass rush and a great quarterback. They don't have a pass rush. The Falcons were one of the worst in the NFL at getting after the quarterback. That's what getting Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr. does. I don't think losing next year's first-round draft pick is going to hurt this team. And I still think that this team will be back competing for hopefully a championship or at least a division crown next year. Surprised by Jackson Dart getting drafted. Not really high on him. He reminds me a lot of Zach Wilson. I think if the Giants could have probably done better if they'd taken Shedeur. And we'll get to him in just a moment. But Abdul Carter, I think, is the next Lawrence Taylor. He's not going to be Lawrence here, but you get what I'm saying. I think he's going to be super talented. He's going to make that Giants team a lot better. I don't have a problem with Jacksonville. Many people thought Cleveland fleeced them. I don't believe that. I think Travis is that type of talent that could change the trajectory of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't know how I feel about Cam Ward. I think he's going to be a great player, but I don't know about the Tennessee Titans organization because they're buffoons there. So we'll see. It's all about where you get drafted, man. And I don't know if Tennessee, who drafted Will Levis, Tannehill, actually traded for Tannehill. Tannehill actually got drafted from Miami, and they don't have Arthur Smith anymore. So I don't know how that's going to play out. The Steelers, I thought they would have went and got a quarterback. Makes me think they're closer and closer to signing maybe Aaron Rodgers. Anything else kind of stand out to you, Richard, as we looked back at the NFL draft? Some other than Shedeur. We'll save Shedeur for a minute, but anything else that kind of stood out for you from the NFL draft?
Yeah, I'm glad that the Falcons traded away their second-round pick because they have got bust in the second round. I'm looking at their history. Last year, Rook Horribro, who only has played 8 games. They've got Rashid Hageman. Yeah, who? Rashid Hageman, Arnold Ekabe. These are some of Richie Grant, who's not even on the team anymore. Marlon Davidson. Are you kidding me? They have whiffed in the second round. So they did something right. They got rid of their second-round draft pick because, they don't do well with second-round picks.
Can I say this also,
yeah.
Richard? I'm going to throw this in there before you finish. I was not big on Ashton Jeanty getting drafted by Oakland because I think for one, he's a lot older than what Saquon, a couple of years. Number two, he got a ton of touches at Boise State, and I just don't think he's near the talent. He had a great year, but look what the league he played in, man. I'm not seeing. I feel like you can get a running back a dime a dozen, just like receivers. You don't have to waste a first-round talent unless it's generational. And I'm not feeling that about Jeanty. That's just in my opinion, but continue, Rich.
So I think that Ashton Jeanty is going to be a productive running back, but you don't take a running back with your top 5 pick. You can
unless it's Saquon Barkley.
Unless he's Saquon Barkley.
Or Derrick Henry.
You can get a running back like Cleveland getting Quishon Junkins. That was a great pickup. I think the Miami Dolphins getting Ollie Gordon might be a steal. Remember, he was the Doak Walker winner in 2023 and just had a bad season with Oklahoma State. They went 3-9. How about Cam Scatterbo going to the Giants? He could end up having an impact. And I also think that the Philadelphia Eagles still like to get Alabama and Georgia players. They got Smile Munden. They got Jahad Campbell. And I think I noticed that some of these teams are trying to copy what the Eagles were doing. Did you see how many Georgia players got drafted? How many Alabama players got drafted?
Holy smokes, Richard.
Yeah, they're looking at what the Eagles did, and they're trying to follow suit.
Who would be your most overrated and underrated pick from this draft? I got one for overrated, but I want to save it right now. I want to get yours first. Who would be the most overrated and underrated pick?
My overrated pick is Tedoria McMillan from the Carolina Panthers, the wide receiver from Arizona. I've never even heard of this guy. I don't know if he's going to pan out. I mean, Bryce Young did improve as a quarterback, but Carolina is going to need a lot more work than just one wide receiver. And then a player who I think he's going to have a massive year is Malachi Starks for the Baltimore Ravens.
That's who I was going to pick.
He could be an all-pro because that's what the Ravens do. They get talent in that late first round, and they become all pros.
That's honestly what I was going to pick, Rich. I thought Malachi Starks was a steal of the draft, and the Eagles would have been salivating to pick him up. And I think the worst pick in the NFL draft, the most overrated, Tyler Show. Is that how you say his name?
It's Show. Yeah, Tyler Show. From
What are you
Louisville.
thinking if you're the Saints?
Oh,
What are you thinking taking a guy that was a mediocre quarterback at best, and he's 26 years old in his college career, and you could have got him in the 6th round, let alone the 2nd? That's where I thought something was up with this Shedeur thing, which we're about to get into in here in just a moment, Rich. I thought that was the biggest thing. That how is this man getting drafted over Shedeur Sanders? Heck, even Dylan Gabriel. I would never. That is the worst pick by far out of this draft, man. I don't even think it's close. Who's your most overrated?
Yeah, that's a really good one, Tyler Show. I didn't mind the Jalen Milroe pick to Seattle because I think that
That's a great pick. Yeah,
I think Seattle's going to use
him.
him. They're going to use him a lot in like Wildcat packages. It's hard to tell because when you get into the 3rd and the 4th round, as far as overrated, I'm looking at the 1st round. I mean, I did mention that Tedoria McMillan. I also think that I think that either Colson Loveland or the tight end for the Colts, Tyler Warren, may not even pan out. I don't know. I think that either one of them is going to be like a Pro Bowl tight end, and one of them is probably just going to be a blocking tight end. When you're picking a tight end in the 1st round, you're not picking a bust. It's obviously somebody that can block, but can they be a possession receiver like a George Kittle, like a Travis Kelce, or like a Brock Bowers, who had just an incredible year with the Raiders? Another pick I really like is Emeka Egbuka from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think that is going to be the most productive wide receiver out of that 1st round, not Tedoria McMillan.
I 100% agree with that, Big Rich. All right, let's wrap up the NFL draft, and then I want to get into the NBA playoffs and get out of here with Shedeur. We talked about this, Rich, when we were doing the Sports Vision morning show today. And I'm going to say this, man. Deion Sanders, what he did, everything that happened with Shedeur was not about Shedeur. Okay, I took 2 things away from it. One, this was the league getting back at Deion and everything that he's done, and apparently telling Shedeur to tank some of his meetings, including the Browns. And I think this was the league saying to Deion, and again, they're human, you're not going to run the league, and you're not going to come here and tell us what we can and cannot do. And I think that this was them getting back at Deion, because when Deion did this back when he was playing, I'm willing to bet a lot of the owners had a problem with it. But here's the thing. He was a generational talent, one of the greatest defensive backs that the league has ever seen. So there's not much they can do because his talent's so good. You need him. He helped the 49ers. He helped the Cowboys win Super Bowls, man. So the guy's generational talent. His son is not that. And I think a lot of the NFL does view Shedeur maybe as a backup. I think he could be a starter on a good team with his talent surrounding him. I mean, come on. Brock Purdy, you don't think he can do what Brock Purdy did if he got the right coach? Baker Mayfield, I think he's just got just as much talent as those guys do, and they're in positions on organizations that put them in the right place to be successful, okay? But for most of the league, I think they view him as a backup. So why would you draft a backup that you know is going to bring a lot of baggage, a lot of microphones are going to want to be in his face? He's going to be one of the top-selling jerseys next year. I feel like NFL teams don't want to deal with that, and that's why they didn't take the risk. I think Shedeur is a good talent. But I think Deion and the way he handled this, he did it the wrong way. And I would have said the same thing about Arch Manning and what he did with Eli. I would say that was wrong back then too. Okay? and I'm not even trying to compare the two right now, but Deion is setting his sons up for failure, in my opinion. The league are circling them with a target on their back. Okay. So I am really worried about what I am seeing from Deion, and then what he's coming out and saying now and doubling back on what he said originally before the draft. If you're Cleveland, you got 5 quarterbacks on the roster. You took a guy before you even took Shedeur. I don't, this just look like a circus to me. You still got Deshaun Watson on payroll. You're paying him $90 million to not even start. I mean, just a crap show. And that's where Shedeur is going. It's going to make for fun entertainment. It's going to be funny to make fun of. But man, what Deion did to his sons. And I want to emphasize this because I know everybody's going to come and get mad. Hey, you're saying he's a bad father. I am not saying he's a bad father. He's a heck of a father that's doing everything he can to put his sons in the right position to be successful. He went about it the wrong way because in his eyes, he views Shedeur as generational talent. I'm sorry, but he is not that. If he was, somebody would have took a risk on him. But because he's middle of the pack, still good enough to play in the NFL, but middle of the pack, and then you got everything else you got to deal with him. NFL teams don't feel like they're missing out on anything because if that's the case, they still would have drafted him. Cleveland took Johnny Manziel. I think Shedeur was better than Johnny. Johnny had, I think, a better college career, but I would have taken Shedeur over Johnny any day of the week. I mean, you heard Johnny didn't even study film, and yet someone still took a chance on him because they thought he was a generational talent. So if NFL teams really believed that about Shedeur, somebody would have taken him, and they didn't. So Deion, I'm blaming him for this. This is not about Shedeur. I'm going to emphasize it one more time. This is not about Shedeur. This is about Deion. And the talent evaluation is saying Shedeur is middle of the pack. And with those two things hand in hand is the reason why he dropped from being a first, second round draft grade to a 5th. And I do want to say this. Mel Kiper calling out people saying that perennially the NFL has been a travesty. And you can say this about every position. You're always taking a chance when you're drafting guys in the NFL or heck, any league, man. You're taking a chance. The talent may be there. The potential may be there, but there may be outside factors that you don't even think about. Injuries that come out of nowhere, things that happen with them mentally that just take them out of their game and make them not the talent that they could have become. Okay. For him to go on the air and say that the NFL has been known for being horrible at drafting QBs. And this is the same guy that has said, not one, but many, Daniel Jones, we're going to be great QBs in the NFL. Mel, that is like the pot calling the kettle black. Please stop with that. It's nonsense. You, of all people, should not be calling out anybody about draft grades. I just want to say that. What's your thoughts, though, on Shedeur?
Well, I got some comparisons. So I've started a tradition, like during the draft weekend, I watched the movie Draft Day because it's got some similarities. I love this movie with Kevin Costner. I don't know if you remember this movie. It came out in 2014. It's actually on Netflix if you want to check it out. Bo Callahan was the sure number one prospect.
Are you calling him Browns? Are you calling Shedeur Bo Callahan right now?
All right, now I'm trying to get some parallels here.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Kevin Costner tried to dig in deep to kind of find out like if there's any flaws, and obviously, like he was looking at game film where Vontae Mack, which was played by Chadwick Boseman, who played Black Panther. He was the middle linebacker for Ohio State, and every time he was in the game, he sacked Bo Callahan. The time he was out, Bo Callahan threw that touchdown, but he found out that none of his teammates attended his birthday party, and that's why they passed up on him, because obviously he jumped to conclusions. Bo Callahan was not a good teammate. And I don't know if, they did some psychological evaluations on Shedeur Sanders. I think that the blowing people off and all the hype, it doesn't really help. But look, in my opinion, Cam Ward was the sure quarterback out of this draft. Tennessee needed a quarterback. They got him. The Giants had other needs. The Giants did not get Shedeur Sanders, even though he was number 2 on my board. They got Abdul Carter because they already have Russell Wilson. They did draft when they drafted Jackson Dart, that kind of shocked me. I was like, oh, I guess Jackson Dart got picked over Shedeur Sanders. What really shocked me was he did not get picked up in the 2nd round, and they waited until the 3rd, the 4th, and then he finally gets picked up by the Cleveland Browns in the 5th round when they already had 4 quarterbacks. I think this was the NFL sending a message to humble him, even though it's not his fault. This is really Dion and his work. This has to be the NFL owners all coming to an agreement. Let's not draft this guy.
You're saying they're colluding?
I think it's possibly. There's a conspiracy theory about this.
You're calling collusion right now? Listen,
how could
I
you
wouldn't
not
put it past that. They did that with Colin Kaepernick. I would not put it past that. But again, it is their league. They own the teams. What do you want to do about it? Now, I'm of the mindset we can call out. We can call a spade a spade. I'm with you. But in the end, they still own the league. And people are still going to watch the NFL.
Nobody wants that circus.
Turn that off. Remember everything with Colin Kaepernick? I was one of those guys in 2015 when concussion came out and Bennett Amalu put out that entire article about concussions and guys that end up taking their life because of the ramifications from getting hit in the head. And the NFL tried to hide it. Roger Goodell tried to hide it. I was one of those that saw that and said, I can't support this league. And you know what it did? The popularity has gone through the roof even higher. It does not matter. And now, if you're the NFL, people are going to be talking about this Shedeur thing for weeks on end. You got the NBA playoffs going on right now, and more people are talking about Shedeur in the NFL draft. If you're the NFL, you're still dominating the headlines, Big Rich. And I do want to say this. The prank call is some nonsense.
Nonsense, man.
I think, now I know some people said Jeff Ulbrich, who was the interim head coach of the Jets last year. It was terrible. He was the D coordinator, and Raheem Morris. Obviously, it had to be a Falcon coach, right? Because it couldn't be anybody else. It had to be a Falcon defensive coordinator. That his son is the one that got this. It had to be it. What an embarrassment for the Falcons organization. More importantly, what an embarrassment to Jeff Ulbrich. And if you're Jack, I think it is. I think it is terrible, absolutely terrible. Them seeing them do that. I really do. So I cannot stand it, and I wish that it would get better, in my opinion, for stuff like this. But listen, somebody leaked it. Some stuff like this is bound to happen. It is what it is.
Yeah, it's very tough, especially when I actually thought that Shedeur Sanders was at least a 2nd round pick. I think that Shedeur Sanders actually wins the starting job and becomes the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns because, Kenny Pickett, ironically, they brought him over for a 5th rounder. Joe Flacco's 40. I know that they won a playoff game last time he was the quarterback. You got Deshaun Watson, who's not going to be the quarterback. They're gonna find a way to cut him so they can save some cap space. And Dylan Gabriel. I mean, those are your quarterbacks. I mean, wouldn't the Cleveland Browns being on Hard Knocks? Wouldn't that be a great Hard Knocks to have all 5 quarterbacks go to training camp? I would watch that. That would be fascinating.
I think it would be absolutely fascinating, man, and I can't wait for it. I think it's going to be pretty cool if they could put that on there. So we'll see what's going to happen, man, and I'm excited about it. And we'll see what's going on with the NFL draft. I do want to wrap it up with some NBA playoff talk, and let's talk about those NBA playoffs, Big Rich. And I was not high on Cleveland coming in. They just beat Miami by 60 points in Miami. What an embarrassment for the Miami Heat.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh almighty, that was absolutely terrible. Cleveland moves on. They swept. Memphis, a shell of themselves. They're a joke. Shouldn't even been in the playoffs. They just completely took the manhood from Memphis. So OKC, Cleveland, I think both of them are in the conference finals. Other series I think that are done, Milwaukee, now that Damian Lillard's out for the season, now Milwaukee is in such a bad position because they don't have a first-round draft pick coming up in the next few years. What are they going to do with Giannis? They got no young talent there, and then you got Doc Rivers. So you're in a bad position. The Pacers are a horrible matchup for them, and I can't wait to see Pacers Cleveland. That's an underrated, sneaky good. If you're an NBA fanatic like me, you're going to want to tune in for that. Also, I do want to say that some other series that I do think are done, I think the Lakers are done. I don't think they come back from 3-1, and I never would have thought this. And now, if Luka gets beat, no one's smiling more than Nico Harrison because the Lakers traded to make a deep playoff run, and they may be getting a gentleman sweep for losing 4 out of 5. I don't think that happens. I do think they win at home tomorrow. But I think right now it is about Anthony Edwards, and the best player in this series is Anthony Edwards.
Yeah,
I think Minnesota moves on. Clippers Nuggets is my favorite series, along with Knicks Pistons, in which you saw the no call at the end of that game. Pistons definitely should have won that. Now the Knicks are up 3-1, and I think they finish it out, but it was a hard-fought 5 games. And if you're Detroit, the young talent you got on this team, I think that is really cool to see them getting better and at least being a competent organization from what we've seen over the previous year. So Knicks, I think they're moving on. I can't wait to see how the Nuggets Clippers play out. I was watching the game winner from Aaron Gordon, the dunk in. I'm talking about he puts it in the rim as the light goes off. It's still in his hand, but because it's inside the cylinder, it went down. And it was a bang-bang play. What a job. And I would not put it past Nikola Jokic if that was a pass. Now, I think it was a shot because he was double teaming. He's fading away with one leg. But would not put it past him if it was a shot. Rockets and Warriors, I think, goes to 6 or 7. If Jimmy comes back, I'm still taking the Warriors in that regard. So
he's playing tonight.
Here's my semifinals. I got Cleveland Pacers. I got Knicks Celtics. Celtics also beat the Magic. I think that series is over with as well. Jason Tatum is starting to go nuclear mode, and I think he's going to end up being a top 3 talent, and I think he's trying to prove that he's the best player in the league. I got Celtics, Knicks, and Cleveland Pacers. I love both of them, Richard. And then I also love, on the other side, OKC, and I really want the Clippers because I'm just not a believer in the Nuggets. I think the Clippers have what it takes to take down, especially the way Kawhi's playing. And then I'm going to get Warriors, Minnesota in that other matchup. And maybe we can get a Clippers and Warriors matchup in that conference finals. OKC versus Minnesota would also be a lot of fun, and that young talent. And I think it's Cleveland, Boston, 1 and 2. I'm taking chalk on the other side. What's your thoughts right now on the NBA playoffs? I think the biggest shock to me has definitely been the Lakers. I did not think they would be down 3-1 against Minnesota. And they've gotten dominated in 2 of those games. So it's not like it's just been close games and a couple of balls didn't bounce their way. No, they've been dominated in 2 of them.
I'm going to go on a limb here, and I'm going to say that the Minnesota Timberwolves get to the NBA Finals. They came so close last year in the Western Conference Finals. Anthony Edwards right now is playing the best basketball out of any player in this league that's in the playoffs. I mean, you could say Jason Tatum, but how great of an NBA Finals would that be between Boston and Minnesota to have Jason Tatum going up against Anthony Edwards, and then the depth that the Boston Celtics have. I think that the Timberwolves have the size. That's why they're dominating the Lakers. And I have my opinion on the Lakers and the meltdown the last couple of games. JJ Redick is in over his head. He did not know how to manage that game in the second half with just playing all the starters the entire second half. So I think that if the Lakers lose, it's going to be because of JJ Redick. I think the Warriors are just too old. I think that the Timberwolves are going to dominate in the paint, and Anthony Edwards. Warriors don't have anybody to stop them. I'm sorry. I think that the Timberwolves get to the Western Conference Finals, and because they've been there before, I could see them taking out an OKC or a Clippers or even a Denver because they did it last year. But yeah, I think that it's going to be Celtics and T-Wolves in the NBA Finals.
I think that Celtics and T-Wolves. How about that? That'd be a lot of fun. I'm going to go Celtics and Warriors. I wanted Celtics and Lakers. We don't ever get that. So I'd like to see maybe Celtics and Warriors would be a lot of fun. Jimmy and Steph going against that
rematch of the
Celtics team.
2022 NBA Finals.
But I really am excited about Cleveland potentially upsetting and making it. And if they win a championship and LeBron doesn't make it this year, Dan Gilbert, who knows how he's going to act? He may take his shirt off and not wear a shirt like J.R. Smith did for a week when he won an NBA championship. So I'm ready to get off because I'm ready to go watch that Warriors-Rockets that's going to be coming up. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. All right, for the rest of the week, Richard, go ahead and take off Unsolicited Hot Take. For the rest of the week here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live, we will be live from CVCC tomorrow, Richard, for their ring ceremony. Can't wait for that. The girls who won their championship, excited we're going to be there for that, Richard. On Wednesday, we got the Georgia Alabama Sports Live show. We got Inside the GIAA show. Also on Thursday, we got hopefully playoff baseball. Friday, we got Brooks on Westfield, Pacelli, and Strong Rock Heritage and Calvary. And then we got CVCC on Saturday. So another busy week on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. And we're going to try to get some coaches shows in starting next week. This week, we're going to try to have on coaches that are playing in the playoffs right now. Maybe have on Coach Fanning, try to get Coach Keogh on again after his big win, maybe get on Tony Rasmus. So y'all tune in on Wednesday for that. So cannot wait. And by the way, also Calvary Soccer is on Thursday. Any other final thoughts, Rich, before we get out of here?
No, just that we had several hires. Calvary has a new volleyball coach. So congratulations to her. And I was trying to pull up exactly who it is. I know that Coach Steve Smith, excited about that as I actually had it pulled up, but just that's great that they're able to get that, especially with, them making the GIAA playoffs last year, and just looking forward to it. But yeah, it's been a great episode.
Thank y'all so much for watching. Keep liking, keep subscribing. We'll see you next time on the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. Thank you for watching the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. You're ready to smile.